let me talk about EPR itself. Hopefully everybody knows extended producer responsibilities. Anybody like a Coke company in Europe, if they produce every day 10 million bottles, they're bound to give details of how they are disposed 10 million bottles every day. But in India, it was not happening. EPR is one. It yet to take the full-fledged size. It will take place. When we saw a bottle lying outside somewhere on the roadside, we normally blame BMC. Safai acha nahi kiya. We don't come and say, whose bottle is this? Can I take a picture showing the brand and tweet it to the concerned company? Your bottle is lying here. Can you collect it? We don't do as Indian. For everything we said, government to blame. Stop doing that and start looking at whose product is this. There is something called LCA, life cycle approach. You go to any market today, or any commodity shops and all, big bazaar and what you call that, everything is now coming to natural, organic, natural. Check that clearly. None of them, 90% of them are not certified organic. But they'll write in a big bold letter, organic, organic, organic. Even they don't know from where they go. To have that organic, you have to have that traceability of the produces, from which crop field, which farmers, which location. Nobody does that. Those are the things need to be factored into this. And more we come out with this, government is giving those space to come out with better policy. I'll take a small example. Last 3 days, I was at Ahmedabad attending G20 presidency concluding summit for the Empire group, empowerment and all. Do you all know that the gender disparity? We all know that. How much more year will take to close that gap in India, for example? Any idea? Any other number? So globally, it is, Harvard Business Review said 131 years. So yesterday, everybody, 20 countries, delegates were pressurizing their own HODs. I mean, in India, our Prime Minister, in all those countries, on an online virtual world. I was thrilled to see that if you can bring COVID vaccine in 1 year, why this will take 131 years? Why can't you close in 5 to 10 years? This is also kind of one of the ESG, under S, one of the KPI. And we all are suffering for years together. None of us will be alive after 130 years, even next 2 generations, to see that. But why it is delayed? So more this advocacy is done, positive advocacy is done, government will come forward. And Honorable Smriti Irani was also there in person, she committed, soon will come out with something, talking to government, all those things. So this is all happening, but it is always a demand-driven things. ESG, sustainability also have demand-driven thing. We need to bring out in the right forum so that government is enable enough to take a call on those lines. But sincerely, government has big role to play on those lines. They are doing it. BRR, BRSR core, and now all those who will be doing ESG audit also need to be certified. All those processes are coming out. It's not far away. It's a couple of months for me, not even a year like.
Absolutely. So the change that we've been waiting for is in motion, and I think before we even have the opportunity to really catch up with it, we'll already be a part of that entire flow. But just coming back to the point on collaboration or even the ecosystem that we are generating, collaborations and partnerships play a very important role. And in isolation, we can't really achieve, or there's only so much we can achieve as India Inc., right? We need a lot of collaborations and partnerships. This also gives a lot of opportunity for employment generation, innovation. What I would like to possibly Ajay and Pratyush, you can add on this is, if you can give me some insight, all of us some insight on collaborations and partnerships that have helped your organization also, and in general also, to accelerate the net zero conversation. So, yeah. Ajay, you can start.
So if you take up internally even, basically, companies basically start acting when you have the policy framework around available, and then they think of complying to those requirements. But when we talk of collaborations, we start from internal company, within means the company, we have different departments. So each and every department and the employees would be required to be on the same table to understand that. As per a very recent survey, it was found that 25% of the companies responded that we don't have the suitable manpower to understand and implement the ESG aspects. So all those things, basically, when we talk of the internal collaboration starts within the employees, their knowledge, their awareness building is very important. So once each and every employee of the company talks of means what ESG means, what is it in for us. So everybody may not be that educated or basically updated on what we all are talking of. So how to percolate that particular understanding in each of the employees to build up that collaboration so that things start on a positive side, basically. So that is one, I would say. Second, it is not just an activity which can be done by a single company or a single particular aspect. There are many things basically in and around that. So it's the involvement of communities. So whatever you do, we have to think of basically how does it affect the communities and how do we involve them, how do we make them understand, whether it is the garbage you see on the road or whether you see your products being misused, how do you basically educate people and bring in the communities basically in that particular sphere. Because it is affecting each and every individual in one way or the other, whether it is the nature which is affecting the individuals or it is again means been created by everybody and everybody will bear the brunt. So those collaborations are very important to start from the education and awareness and then coming to the aspect of what everybody has to do. Over to you, sir.
Maybe let me give two, three examples to make it a more simplified one.
Yeah.
So I'm closely working on all those collaborations efforts. One is last week we initiated on my official capacity with LTM Mindray, a ESG strategy analytics lab at NITI, if you know. So this is specially designed for the student, those are pursuing their further career on postgrad, MPhil, PhD, and any further analytics work they need. Also meant for the corporates, smaller, medium size, also SME startup, those who can't afford to put some extra money with Big Four or some other players can take out their services. And the best part of that is purely because we being a IT technology being company, we help NITI to come out with a predictive analytics kind of things there. So if you go there, you get a free ESG scorecard for even if you have a small NGOs, a corporate, a startups, a consulting firm, you get it. And they also give a predictive analysis, what will happen to you 5 years, 10 years down the line. And what measures you can take. As of now on ESG, you'll see ESG ratings. And then you can say good, bad. Same company, it getting silver somewhere, gold somewhere, very good somewhere, excellent somewhere, and ugly also somewhere. Same company for the same year, just because ESG scorecard is changing it. Sometimes it is DJSI, sometimes it is MSCI, sometimes it is EcoVadis. How can I be good, bad, ugly at the same time, at the same period? So there is something wrong on those ratings also. So that's the reason it was started in India for the first time on a collaborative. NITI is helping out to those who can't afford a beyond limit. Second example I'll give you, I put it on almost a month before on my LinkedIn post also, carbon capture and storage Martin was talking about. Reach out to IIT Bombay, Professor Mahesh and team, how advanced they are on with respect to carbon capture and storage. These are like a one-shot boom for major captures. It's like, can we create some artificial material which can capture CO2 from air, from water, from the atmosphere, and hold it for all time to come, maybe beneath sea level. Just go through their website, and if you have interest, you can read it. These are something we are not doing for L&T as a group company. It is for the whole of the world. Anybody can avail these services because it is a academia kind of partnership. I'll come to 1, 2 more examples on, say, with civil society, what we can do on ESG. And Dr. Neil Ratan is here. I met him this morning. Please meet him. If you want to learn about carbon trading from agroforestry, This morning he gave me updated, sir, आपका काम complete हो गया, 85,000 agroforestries. Means indirectly saying, sir, fund us more, time is there for the year. I said, hold on. We are doing, by the way, 2 million plantation, both mangroves and agroforestry current year. And it is all across Sundarban, somewhere on the coast of our Maharashtra coast. There is a very good organization in Pune called AERF. Some of you must be knowing. So they are helping us, I mean, government also. If you know, in the Raigad district side, there are a lot of private area land where mangroves comes automatically. And the farmers tends to cut it out immediately before it goes 6 inch also. The moment it's mangroves, it is forest species. They have no control. So, they want to clean it out. So we are helping them out in 1,400 acres of land to let it grow along with partnership with the forest department, so that biodiversity of that 1,400 acres of land, it is private land, but in the middle of the forest, to grow up and provide. And if you know, each mangroves is equivalent to 2 to 3 times of each plant, carbon capture wise. So whether you plant 3 trees or 1 mangroves, productivity, output, efficiency is same. That's the importance of mangroves. So these are all kind of things we all need to do together to have better impact on collaboration. And without collaborative efforts, no one can do alone such a big task. We are already far behind our targets.
Right. Correct. So that's possibly why the most important SDG, also Sustainable Development Goal, the 17th goal is also about partnerships for goals. Before we move into the question and answers or questions from the audience, I want to ask one last question to Prashant, and this has to do with disclosure and transparency. So we've seen BRSR, the Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report, the BRSR core come out for top 1,000 listed companies, for 150 companies in terms of assurance of BRSR core. And while these may seem like 2 different planets we are on, with net zero being one conversation and BRSR and disclosure being another conversation, they are very well linked, right? So if you can provide some insight on this entire thing, because you work with clients on their journey. So what's the role, and how can the BRSR or any other reporting framework basically help them in this journey?
So while there is a segment which is governed BRSR and a lot of regulations are coming in on the bigger companies, there are so many companies which are private companies, and they are equally contributor to whatever is happening. So when we look at the clientele, it is typically the private sector where they are not governed by any organization, but they have an intent of doing something for the climate, and whatever they are hearing, they want to contribute something there. So that is where we sort of help them in terms of getting it from, say, scratch to a level where then they can take it and then they can sustain by themselves. And as they grow, they will be ready for any such regulation which gets imposed to them once they grow. And as you just mentioned, it is still 1,000 companies right now, market cap companies, but it is not very far, then it will go to nearly every listed company. So good, it's just that the intent has to come out very clearly. Everywhere, wherever we are discussing all this terminology which we heard today, greenwashing and all other stuff, is very, very, I would say, rampantly being used in overall reporting structure. So the mindset in terms of the coming in as an intent that, okay, this is what we are doing and this is what we want to report, rather than what is good for the document to show up. So that's where we see a lot of area of improvement, or you could say inclusion by the senior management in terms of their commitment on overall situation, and not as in just a regulation and we just it's a tick in the box to get a good report and then be good in people's eyes. But if they come across any event or any incident which will sort of be against what they've already reported, I think they got to look at the reputation damage which it will create, like in terms of misreporting and what all will come in separately. And I remember, Pratyush, from your earlier discussion on your catchword of regulation se kitna shuru hota hai. So,
Right. So I think that's the most important thing, that reporting is usually a decision-making tool. It should help you make a decision. It's not just an outcome of whatever you have done over the year, but also an input to what you can do in the next year. So it's not a PR tool, it's really a decision-making tool. So with that, I will open the floor to, okay. So I have been notified that we have a chance to take only one question, so maybe 2 is the max we can stretch it for. Sorry?
Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and the discussion. I will keep it really short, and I have a twofold question. A lot of speakers today on the panel and otherwise also mentioned about siloed activities. Data collection is someone's job, compilation someone, so there is no discussion between different departments. I see you guys in a leadership position. Once you identify a problem, how do you suggest a solution to a problem like that? Because that exists in all industry and in all departments. So I would like to hear your thought. Number 2, ma'am moderator here mentioned something around Gen Z being proactive in seeking organizations that are sustainable. I want to understand how many, amongst you all, how your hiring processes are designed to cater to that aptitude requirement of Gen Z. Gen Z wants it, I want it. But is your company even considering that in their hiring process is something I would like to know as well. So thank you.
Yeah, you would
Yeah,
like to
sure. I'll answer the second one first. That's fairly easy to. It's basically, we've had to do it. We've had no other choice because HR, like anything else, hiring like anything else, has also gone through a massive, I would say, paradigm shift in terms of how they, and the earlier mentality of we are here and the interviewee is here has completely changed. It's the flip side of the last 10 years. We are as keen to get the best talent as possible, and the prospective employee wants to join the best company as possible. So I think being cognizant of the fact that you really need to profile your company and your organization and the role in the best possible way to attract the best talent, I think that's really something that's become inbuilt. If you see most, I would say, mature companies which do extensive hiring, if you look at their hiring process, it's extremely, I would say, entrenched with the culture of the company. And the culture of the company is what the first thing that they bring out when they tell a prospective hiree, this is what we're all about. Yes, a lot of companies still focus on, the nuts and bolts of the role, but the really progressive ones have really included culture at the centerpiece of what they offer to prospective hires. Very long discussion on this. I'm not going to take up too much more time, but we can discuss this offline. On this first bit, that was tough, yes. Like I said, we were talking about getting buy-in from everyone to make sure that everybody's pulling weight equally. I think the best way to do that is just to show them how their particular roles and their particular functions are impacted by ESG and the impact that they can have on ESG by making slight changes in the way they function. The whole job of an ESG team is not so much about the doing, it's more about the influencing. So how do you get people on? I'll just give you very simple, I'll just take one example of science-based targets. I spent 10 years, Godrej spent 10 years talking about how we're going to be carbon neutral, only for this new idea of science-based targets to come along in the last 5 years and say, no, forget the old paradigm. Now the entire discussion is about science-based targets. We need to reduce our emissions based on that. The first time it was discussed, I still remember at the board level meeting, they're like, no, this is not doable. They talk about absolute emissions reduction. We can only reduce from an intensity perspective. There's no way we can do this. It took a process of 3 years and aligning everybody from purchase to the CEO to the finance teams and the investment required in that in terms of time and resources and knowledge to be able to really move that shift and to get the ball rolling. And while we did that, it's also to make sure that these institutions are permanent. You don't want to create something for the purpose of just this particular initiative. So like what Pratyush mentioned right now, it is fundamentally seeped into the DNA of the organization now. Every single person from the CEO downwards has 20% of the KPI linked to a climate-related goal. And that it's not a one-shot thing. It's not like today we decided, tomorrow it's going to be part of everybody's KPIs. It's a 2-3 year process of getting everybody along for that. It's difficult, but that's the main role I think the ESG teams in companies have to play. It's not so much doing stuff. everybody know, like I keep saying, people keep fixating on the doing part of it. It's fairly easy.
More advocacy,
Yeah.
facilitation role.
Getting people
catalytic
together.
The doing bit is easy.
Yeah.
It's not difficult at all.
role. And our first question.
Yeah. That's first.
So,
question
so
answered.
first question to answer it is technology is probably the only answer today. To sync everybody work together, it has to be cross-cutting. So if you put some technology inbuilt into it, which can draw directly the data from all departments, all units together. It's not pushing, it's a pulling out every month or quarterly is the probably best way to go ahead, because the data triangulation you can avoid. Nobody can change the data later on. Today they report something and next month they try to change, no, ye to galat tha, this is the right figure, no. The master can change, that is one answer in one word. There's lot more can be done. And second one, as Ram was saying, it has to be, part of your DNA, culture and all. I'll tell you, the person who takes care of my sustainability data, MIS, as a deaf person, reports me directly, sitting in Hyderabad, but does his job fabulous. He can't play in a group, one-to-one, but you need to learn. For him, I learned 25 sign languages, just to talk to my colleague. There is a girl, I've yet to seen her sitting at Coimbatore. She completed the MERS company sustainability report very recently along with the BRSR. A management trainee with MBA Sustainability Management. I've yet to see Sweta in person. She doesn't pick up my call on Saturday, Sunday, come what may. But on working day, she is 120% efficient, Monday to Friday. So you have to adapt, you have to give space to them and get what do. You cannot show bossism, कि मैं बोला तो अभी, gone are those days. You will spoil yourself, nobody else will spoil. So you have to adapt to all those things to get it done. As we talk about diversity and all those things, we have taken our targets internally. Again, 2 months back, I have posted how a boy whom I found out at Sanpada railway station, crying, is now working with our, in my headquarters in Powai, where we all sit, all CEOs, and serving tea, coffees, everything to the CEO's guest. Last month he got the star rating award among all their employees. I just posted it on almost like a month and a half before on my LinkedIn post. And there are thousands such people. One case study I highlighted. This all we need to do, what I'm precisely saying, on a daily life at your home. Have you taken target for your home? Can I reduce my carbon footprint? Go and check, what is that called? Cool calculator by Intel. You can calculate your carbon footprint of your home and take a oath that I need to reduce it by 15% by year end. You can, and what is the proof for that? Your energy bill will tell you whether you have reduced or not. It's possible for you, for your home. If it is, then it will be possible for your company also. It's that simple, it's no rocket science. SBTI net zero is much easier than I'm telling what I've studied derivatives and calculus in my 11th and 12th. It's easier than that. Please go ahead on those lines.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll take one last question, and I'm very sorry, we would have loved to take all your questions, but we're running short of time.
Yeah.
We have a high tea arranged, so after that, of course. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm literally getting
No, I think this side, please.
Okay,
This-
fine. Just one. He's been raising his hand for a
I
long
think we
time.
have a
We'll-
bias for that side, just implicit bias. And
Please,
looking
we are
at
here
that
on the
side.
panel for the first time, so we're on the stage for the
That's
first
okay.
time, so we can't be accused of that. Yeah, please go ahead with the question, and then we'll
So I think my question is to Pratyush and Ram, and others are welcome to pitch in, chime in. You both touched upon some of the strategies Indian corporates, your specific companies have been undertaking, and also touched on the policy landscape from a government lens. My question, how did you guys handle in a company the scope to procuring green electricity, and how do the regulations favor you there? How has it been your journey? VPPA's open access. Just educate me on that, and also a lens from the policy landscape and the
one
feasibility
small,
of it.
Request, we have to keep our answers really short because
I'll keep it
I've
really
been getting stinkers from every corner of the room now.
It's a really simple answer. The only thing that's preventing me from taking up more renewable energy is regulation. Let me put it that way. In terms of, there is no economic reason for not taking up more scope to electricity from renewable sources. Literally every place it's available, we take it up. It's only state-to-state regulatory barriers that prevent us from going beyond a certain amount.
And you, Pratyush?
Out of 18 locations, in 7 locations, within a year time, we shifted from regular energy to green energy. Adani in Powai, supplying with a small premium. Possible.
Got it.
Rest we'll discuss during.
Yeah, you can. So before I hand
I was
over-
worried this is a much easier question.
Okay, so thank you everybody for patiently listening to all of us. And thank you Ram, Pratyush, Ajay, Prashant and Devesh for your time. I'm sure everybody's had a great session. Handing it over to you. Thank you.
All right, a big hand to this amazing panel. Please, I would request you all to stay back. And obviously, to present the token of appreciation, I'm now going to request Mr. Ankit Bansal, founder and CEO of Sapphire Human Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please join me in welcoming Mr. Bansal, please. They say life is like a movie, and I totally agree to it, especially when it comes to this panel. The superheroes are right here, and the villain just keeps coming every now and then to end it. So, due to paucity of time, we couldn't take more questions, but just in case if you have more questions, please do reach out to our panel members. Well, I think the proof in the pudding lies right out here, right? I mean, the more Q&A or the more questions come, proves that the panel was indeed a fruitful and an insightful one. So, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for our moderator for moderating it so well, and especially for all our panel members, please. Would request all the panel members to please join us for a group picture.